1 minute. Hope that this video is going to play correctly. Here we go.
The Bureau last week reported that unemployment is at a 6-month low at 5.8%. The economy also achieved a record-breaking 15 months of payroll growth. But what does all this mean for African Americans? Joining us now from Plainfield, New Jersey to discuss this is Glenn Ford. Glenn is the co-founder and executive editor of the Black Agenda Report. Thank you for joining us, Glenn.
Always. Thank you for the opportunity.
So, Glenn, if more people are employed this month than they were last month, isn't that a good thing?
It's always a good thing when people are employed when compared to the alternative of not being employed and not having any social benefits such as unemployment. Our particular job is to look at the at relative levels of employment and wages. And I think that the national conversation when it comes to black unemployment is framed incorrectly. We have always heard that term intractable, that black unemployment levels are intractable, as if nothing can be done about them. And although it is true that the ratio of black unemployment to white unemployment hardly moves from 2 to 1, it's been like that since I was a very, very, very young man. What's intractable about that is white racism, and the basic fundamental indicator that we are talking about for white racism is the fact that black high school graduates are more likely to be unemployed than white high school dropouts. And therefore, we have to conclude that the crying social need is not for more education, although education is good in itself. But what we need is ways, that is, real policies that get around this intractable white racism, which presents itself as a constant barrier to black employment in good times and in bad times, and we have to note that the good times are already gone. And that means getting or finding ways to increase black opportunities for employment outside of the private sector, because that is where the ability of white folks to exercise white supremacist whims and other manifestations of white racism have the most leeway. President Obama offers us only at this stage his My Brother's Keeper scheme, which is not a program, a federal program, a jobs program at all, but is totally dependent on white corporate charity and philanthropy and goodwill. And white goodwill is precisely what is chronically missing in U.S. society and creates the conditions for intractable black unemployment.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the reasons for black unemployment in this here United States of America. I mean, it's what can you say? What can you say? I just don't know what else to say, ladies and gentlemen. But as we continue here in the Village with Anselm and Marjorie on the South Orange Maple Online Radio Experience, coming to you every Monday through Friday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. That's 8 to 9:30 p.m. Just, I think we try as much, ladies and gentlemen, to actually keep it real. Now, here is another audio, and this is also posted on our Facebook page. It's the truth and nothing but the truth. It does not matter what a black person have in their hands. To the police, it's a gun. And this is a video by Michael Moore, and we're going to give you the audio of this video that was done by Michael Moore. And we are trying here, ladies and gentlemen, to bring you news in our community, as well as news that affect us daily across this country. if we should ignore these type of news, as you know, you are not going to see or hear this type of information on the mainstream media. They just don't bring you this type of information. As a matter of fact, there is information being broadcast on Fox regarding the problem with juror number 40. I know many of you heard that. With the information that was actually made up by juror number 40, and it's being broadcast by Fox almost every single day, but leaving out certain information. So let's go to Michael Moore audio. Let's take a listen.
In garages, introduce.
You know, it's not easy being a police officer. Day in and day out, they risk their lives to protect us. But lately, some police officers have been seeing things. In Detroit, police killed a man who was holding the remote control to his VCR. The police said it appeared to be a gun. In Arkansas, a policeman shot a man who was holding a hair clip. The police thought the clip was a gun. In Chicago, a police officer shot a South Side woman who was carrying a spatula. You guessed it, he thought the cooking utensil was a gun. These days, it seems like when a police officer sees a black person, they see a monster. And every time he sees a black person holding something, he sees a gun. One night last year, 4 New York City police officers saw the same thing at the same exact moment. They shot and killed Amadou Diallo by firing 41 bullets because they all saw a gun in his hand. But once again, it wasn't a gun. This time, it was a wallet. A wallet? Time to make the streets safe again.
Attention, attention. The New York City police have a difficult time distinguishing between a gun and a wallet. Please come and exchange your black wallets for this beautiful day-glow orange wallet that no policeman will mistake for a gun. Step right up here with your black wallets. Black wallets out invisible so I can see them. Thank you. Day-glow orange. Trade them in for day-glow orange. Help out the police who don't know the difference. There you go. Thank you. Wallet's right in here. That's right. Here we go.
I gotta throw my wallet away?
There you go. Yeah, you gotta throw your wallet away.
It's only a wallet.
Only a wallet.
Well, the wallets were a start, but there was still much work to be done. Thousands of African Americans were still walking the streets holding house keys.
See, that looks like a gun.
A bad idea, considering a cop in Florida shot Jerome Richardson after mistaking Richardson's keys for a gun.
If I get a little orange on it, you'll be okay, right? Thank you.
And don't forget candy bars. Perhaps people don't remember that a federal agent shot 17-year-old Andre Burgess after mistaking his Three Musketeers bar for a handgun. We were off to a good start. But let's face it, the only way a black person can truly be safe is to make sure the police can see his or her hands at all times.
When other people tell their history, they come across as being patriotic. When other people talk about where they came from and who they are and what their history is, that's called patriotism. But when African Americans do it, or when black people do it, they're labeled as being militant. They're called rebels. They're called Afrocentric. So that's the big difference. Our history for some reason it becomes offensive to people. So we have to stop being afraid to tell what our true history is.
The studies will show that the dominant population here in America especially, and in Europe, have wanted to claim everything for themselves. And so they have made up a lot of stories as they travel to places. And as we know, all of the places that the so-called European or the white explorers traveled, when they got there, black people were already there. Some kind of black people, or yellow people, or red people, or brown people. You as a black man are the root of all of the civilizations. Every body they've ever found, every tomb they've ever raided, whatever it was, they found something symbolic of the black man, either our features, your nose, your mouth, your head, the way we looked, our hair, even braids, everything.
The makeup of a human being's self-esteem, self-image, and self-concept is not only based upon one's family history, but it's also based upon one's racial history. So when you look at the self-esteem of black people and black children, you can rest assured that at least 50% of how high or how low it is contingent upon positive information that they know or don't know about who they have been in racial history.
And over the last, I would say, 1,000 years, there has been a protracted effort and an ongoing effort by those in power, the European powers especially, to make sure that what we have done as an indigenous, or what we call autochthonous peoples, Earth's autochthonous peoples, is erased irrevocably from the minds of all our people.
Only a people who haven't learned how to respect themselves will let someone suggest themselves that they forget about their history.
If you know yourself, there's no way that anybody could ever do the things to you, or would you do the things to you and yours that we find ourselves doing. So that, and in many ways, I don't really think it's hidden. It's there. It's just that they're not allowing us to understand.
According to Dr. Ben, the original name of Africa was Alkebulan. Africa, the whole continent, was also called Ethiopia. As a matter of fact, the Atlantic Ocean was called the Ethiopian Sea. So there were several different names. Africa was really described by different tribes. It wasn't a whole monolithic society, but eventually they named Africa after a European.
Africa was not called Africa. It's actually named after the one who actually conquered the Carthaginian Scipio Africanus. So they usually, the Roman types of system is that the conquering general gets to name the region he conquered. He gets his name to be placed on that region. So Scipio Africanus is they named a certain terrain after him. So everybody just said, well, let's call it Africa or Africanus. But if you look to Dr. Ben's work, you'll find that it was called Kush, and you'll find it was called Alkebulan. It had many names: Ethiopia, which is essentially Greek, but a whole continent was once known as Ethiopia.
It's terrible, about just where math came from. All of the pictures that they've shown out of Africa, they've never really educated the Americans, white or black, about what really goes on in Africa, what some of the cities are really like, and that we're not running around over there with Tarzan.
For a lot of us, there is something we always wanted to thank our mother for, but never got around to saying. Now's the time. Thanks, Mom, for showing me that what others see, moms feel. For teaching me how to make cookies, and that Mom can be a tough cookie. Thanks for teaching me that life is a surprise party, and the invitations are in the mail. Thanks for reminding me that feelings are the facts of life, and laughing is sometimes the best way to cry. Thanks for kissing my forehead and telling me your kiss was a secret sign, so only good things could ever happen to me. Mom, I think you're out of this world because I love you more than anything in this world, and I'm proud of you, and I'm surely proud to be your child. Thanks, Mom. You're the best. Dear Dad, All of us at some point has something we want to thank our Father for, but never get around to saying.